Here we are guys, it's time to talk about probably the most obscure franchise I have ever and probably ever will cover, Vib Ribbon. And considering I just covered the Parappa the Rapper games, who were created by the same guy as this series, Masaya Matsuura, well, if I don't do it now, I'm probably never going to. So, before going ahead, if you have not checked out that video, click the card or the link in the description before watching this one. It's not essential, but knowing the history of Masaya before his gaming days will enhance your viewing experience with this video. Now, Vib Ribbon, for me, was a game that I was obsessed with getting my hands on. Just look at it. It's so weird. It's so me. Games that tried something new would always pique my interest. Plus back then I had about 2,000 CDs ranging from heavy rock and hip hop to all different styles of electronic music. And I couldn't wait to record a mixtape, burn it onto CD and actually play with it. Which is exactly what I did in my small poster covered bedroom. So, join me for the weirdest complete history video going, until I do Seaman, as we take a look at the history of Vib Ribbon, the development, America's strange release of the game, the classic original, and of course, the widely unheard of sequels. Welcome to Slope's Game Room. I'm sure I grabbed your attention now. Vib Ribbon Sequels? Haha, yes! Masaya Matsuura's second most popular franchise has got not one, but two sequels. Obviously Japan exclusive that came out after that original game blew the mind of all who played it. But before talking about those three games, I think we're in fact getting a little ahead of ourselves. So, let's go back to let's not go too far back. We've already covered where Masaya went to uni, the band he was in, and of course Parappa the Rapper. So let's go forward slightly to 1996, shortly after the release of everyone's favourite hip-hop training dog, Parappa the Rapper. Parappa the Rapper did well. Really well, and like I said before, Sony had given Masaya pretty much complete freedom to do what he wanted next, which 2 years later resulted in the spin-off of Jamalami. However, during this time Masaya also wanted to try something new. It was the love of several different things that spawned the idea of Vib Ribbon: music, video games, vector graphics and analog waves. You see, back when Masaya began creating his own music and bespoke music software, everything went to the PC originally from analog media, and therefore he would see his music bouncing around on one of those analog waves. And although Masaya does remember originally wanting Vib Ribbon to be a bright and colourful game like his previous success, it was this seed of a wireframe music game that ultimately made him decide to go with the style we're all familiar with. But that's not the only cool bit of back history. Originally there was no rabbit involved at all. Nope, at the time Mercedes had actually contacted Sony about helping promote the Mercedes-Benz A-Class car. And Masaya actually made a prototype where you, the player, was the car, albeit a living car with eyes in the headlights, not made in wireframe, but instead all polygon-like. Either way, it was apparently the success of those earlier Parappa the Rapper games when Masaya and his team decided on another animal-like character, which is how we ended up with the female rabbit, Vibri. So, let's take a look at the game. Vib Ribbon is a game where you control this thing. You run across this line, and either by using the music in the game or the music you put in yourself, you need to hit one of 4 buttons to gracefully make your way over that particular shape. The game is notably harder than Parappa due to not only having essentially endless levels for your game, but because after the tutorial the game expects you to remember what button to press for the jagged line and what button to press for the square or the circle, and on top of all this, you also get combinations of every shape, resulting in you needing to push 2 buttons at the same time. But hey, if you need help remembering, then you can put up the adorable poster that comes with the game right next to your telly as a quick reference guide. A game like Vib Ribbon demands practice. At first your mind will be a mess of scrambling over the PlayStation controller's button layout trying to quickly refresh yourself with what you're supposed to be pressing. But hey, get good at it, and the better you do, the more likely Vibri will turn from a rabbit to a princess. The worse you do, more likely you'll turn from a rabbit to a frog and then to a worm before it's game over. Also, every time you mess up, Vibri completely spazzes out, not only making you feel bad for her, but also making the playing field harder to visualise. Now there's 6 songs that appear in the game, so make sure you got plenty of your own music, were all performed by the Japanese band Laugh and Peace. Yeah, I prefer this game's soundtrack too. Overall, the game is easily one of the most unique PlayStation 1 games. Heck, it's probably one of the most unique rhythm games going ever. Is it worth getting? Hell yes. If you like rhythm games, then it's an absolute must. And you can also get it on the PlayStation Store. But if you do, then you're not going to be able to get that lovely poster reference sheet. Now, before going on to the game's 2 sequels, let's talk about the international release of the game. As exactly 50% of you know, thank you YouTube Analytics, Vib Ribbon was only released in Japan and Europe and not in America. Why? Obviously it was due to Sony thinking the game wouldn't resonate too well with American gamers. And fair enough, it didn't exactly sell bucket loads when it was released over here, but by doing this it gave the game a cult following of fans that desperately wanted to own it. Plenty of time passed until this guy, Shawn Layden, someone I'm sure you are all too familiar with his recent appearances at E3, well, he was asked to make a fairly boring announcement at the 2014 Electronic Entertainment Expo, his first time on the stage. He was tasked with talking about the PlayStation's figures, a part of the show that you need to get through before the real juicy stuff continues to get announced. So, the then not so well president and CEO of Sony America decided to have Vib Ribbon show up on the screen during his welcoming speech. Only for a mere 2 or 3 seconds, but the idea of Vibri showing up was put in place so that Shawn could hopefully relate to a few of those hardcore Sony fans and win a few respect points.
I've personally known him for more than 20 years, and when I think of the game behind me, I can't help but think of him. He was most recently the COO of Sony Network Entertainment, and now as president and CEO of Sony Computer Entertainment.
Now, even though the rest of his lecture went on for 16 whole minutes going on about sales figures and performance in the PlayStation 4, it ended on a brand new trailer for Mortal Kombat X. But all people seemed interested in was that 2 to 3 second clip of Vib Ribbon. So much so that when he woke up the next day and saw the unexpected cry for the game all over the internet, he had no choice but to get it onto the PlayStation Network for Americans pronto. And fair play to him for sorting that out, if you ask me. He wanted the respect of Sony fans, and from me at least, he got it. Especially when you look at the fact that he did the Ice Bucket Challenge in the name of Sony and added a little teaser of the upcoming download. Now, before Americans got Vib Ribbon, Japan got the exclusive mojib-ribbon. Now, just like Jammerlami, it isn't a direct sequel to that original game. That is still to come. This is more of a spin-off of the original.
ゲームにしちゃう。
Straight away, you gotta give the game props for having such an awesome and unique art style. You play as Mojib-ribbon, this guy, who is on a quest to become a famous rapper. Yep, another Masaya game based around rap music. You constantly spin around this loop, pushing down at the correct time as shown by the symbols beneath you, and once finished, you flick up to fill your ink meter. If you miss a symbol, then the whole section will loop again so you can get it. There really isn't much else to say. Obviously, the longer you play, the harder it gets. You can eventually unlock a couple of extra characters which have slightly different calligraphy styles, and that's really it. If you fancy importing the game, go ahead. Apart from the menus, which you'll need to find an online walkthrough for, the game is exactly what you would expect. Short pick up and play fun that's going to please any fan of the original game, which, like I said, did get a sequel 1 year later in 2004, also on the PlayStation 2, with Vib Ripple, yet again a Japanese exclusive. Wow, Vib Ribbon is in colour now. Don't worry, it will all make sense soon enough. Well, actually it might not. This game takes the weird to a whole new level. You, yet again, play as Vibri, and this time the gimmick isn't putting music into the game, but instead putting pictures into the game. And weirdly enough, not by using the iToy which came out not long before. The game comes with 60 pictures included, but by including your own via USB or via the internet at the time, the game will scale them down to 200 by 200 pixel images to use in the game. That image will then get transformed into a trampoline for Vibri to bounce up and down on, with the aim to loosen up small sprites hidden in the image, which she needs to collect within the allotted amount of time. The bar on the left is apparently there to identify the part of the image where you will be able to find them, and you need to be doing all this while dodging boonches on the surface who will knock you down from a rabbit to a frog and a worm just like before. This is easily the weirdest game I have ever played. Strangely enough, it actually does make sense, and stranger still, it works. Like the two games before it, it's a crazy simple idea that needs to be played before you get to grips with the fun hidden inside it. And this game is even more import friendly, which is good because after a quick look at completed items on eBay, it tells me that the imported copies go for about £10 or £15 each. But the soundtrack goes for about £100. I can't suggest that, but for the games, yeah, a tenner isn't bad for a completely unique experience if you ask me, even if only for curiosity's sake. Now, is it likely that we will ever see Vib Ribbon or a spin-off to the series again? Well, possibly. It's never going to be a massive seller, none of the games have been. But there is a serious cult following to the weird wire-framed rhythmic rabbit. In fact, in an interview with Retro Gamer magazine, which by the way is an absolutely brilliant magazine that helps make this as well as many other complete history videos a reality, Masaya was asked if he would ever make a sequel, in which he replied, "It is still possible, I think about it every day. It will never disappear my brain." And who knows what's going on inside that. Hey guys, a massive thanks for checking out the video. Firstly, I just wanted to give a big shout out to my patrons, especially Ryan Burford, Ian A. Chapman, Phil Lowlins, Blitz Hedgie, Gavin Gorves, Ben Hall, Taylor Almond and Ted Kimmel. If you want to become a DJ Slope Patreon, then click the link that you see on the screen. Also, why not check out some of my previous videos? And if you're not subscribed already, well, you know what to do. But for now, that's it from me. This is DJ Slope signing out, and hopefully I'll see you all next time.